And we're live on YouTube. Welcome to the first ever Monday Marketing Minute Live. I'm Freddie Hunt.
And I'm Jillian Nemisto.
And today we're going to talk to you about a really cool publication that we put out. It is called The State of Digital Marketing in Vacationland.
And we've recently put out an addendum that talks about specifically what's happening now in the time of COVID-19.
Yeah, so we originally created this a year ago for the local businesses in Traverse City and in other places just like Traverse City who really rely on a couple months out of the year to make it or break it. So in that guide, we put out a lot of great information regarding local search, PPC advertising, social media, and Google My Business. A lot of that information is still super relevant and very helpful, but as Jillian alluded to, we had to make some modifications that addressed coronavirus and what has become our new normal, at least for the time being in the last couple of months. I know for myself, I have been checking company websites, social media way more often than I usually do, just so I'm aware of their new hours of operation and in what capacity they're even operating. So Jillian, what all can we find in this new addendum to the State of Digital Marketing in Vacation?
So our new addendum builds on a lot of the topics discussed in the original State of Digital Marketing. Beyond what we initially included, we really talk about how a lot of what we're considering best practices for these different channels are more important now than ever. So we're talking about different ways of communicating on your website and via social media. For example, your website should be a place where you can easily update your consumers about whether or not you're open, what type of extra precautions consumers have to take when they come to your place of business from now on. Social media as well is just as important now, if not more important than prior to the pandemic. For example, we're seeing a real uptick in Instagram stories because they're instantaneous and people can post so quickly about what's going on at your business. It's a great way to connect with consumers. So we're really talking about sort of the next level and using those best practices to your advantage in our changing world.
That's right. And when you get right down to it, what is a website? A website is a way for businesses to communicate to their customers. Social media is just like a website. We just call it a social media profile. I think what's important right now is that the information matches on both. You can't just update one and not the other. So if you have an update on, what are you doing to protect your employees and your customers, that information should be on both the website and social media because different people are going to find that they're either going to go to social or they're going to go to website, or maybe they're going to go to both just to find the answer that they're looking for.
So Freddie, another really great example of how businesses have been modifying their website to better meet their needs during the pandemic is in the institution of online ordering systems. Mm-hmm. A lot of restaurants never really had, or even retail businesses didn't necessarily have online ordering systems set up at the beginning of the pandemic because for the most part they were dine-in or shopping oriented businesses. With the closures that we felt here in Northern Michigan and throughout our state and throughout the United States, a lot of these places switched to a to-go or a carry-out business model. And allowing for consumers to purchase online or order online wasn't just easier for consumers, but it was easier for those businesses. I mean, if you think about a busy restaurant on a Friday night, I know my husband and I were ordering out a lot because we wanted to support these businesses and we were also really sick of cooking, right? But it was so much easier for us to go online and order than to call a restaurant that's also being called by 1,500 other people looking for tacos on a Friday night.
Yeah, and I think that this has really started a trend. Consumer behavior has changed. So contactless payment is not only relevant now, it'll continue to be relevant for the foreseeable future. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just a safer way to conduct a business, to go about making a transaction. So I think it's still very relevant, even though a lot of the country is starting to reopen. The new ways of working that businesses have put in place will be relevant, far into the future.
And
Yeah.
they're more convenient for consumers for the most part anyways. I mean,
Yeah.
anytime I order takeout, I want to do it online. I don't want to talk on the phone.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And there are some businesses, local businesses, who are already set up to do that, and it's been fantastic. I certainly appreciate that, but making that transition can be a little tricky. There are a couple of platforms that can help you do that. Sometimes it depends, what your website is built on. I know Square makes it very easy. I've had a couple of seamless restaurant transactions, but other times, it's a little more, hey, give your credit card number over the phone, which always makes me feel a little uncomfortable.
When in doubt, find a developer from a reputable agency to talk to, right? Like if you're not sure what your website is capable of, or if you're unsure of how to set it up, it's not something to guess about, because you want to make sure your consumers feel confident in what you're doing. So that's really what we were helping a lot of clients with throughout this pandemic is finding ways to make them, feel more confident in these businesses.
And Jill, thanks for reminding me. If you don't have a good developer to go to, Oneupweb is offering free consultation. Okay, you can enter to win free consultation from Oneupweb if you go and download the State of Digital Marketing in Vacationland during a pandemic. So this is the updated version from last year's. So just go to oneupweb.com/stateofdigital, download the resource, and you'll automatically be entered to win free consultation from Oneupweb. And we're a full service marketing agency, so we can help you with development, design, branding, content, SEO, paid, anything you want. We are here to answer your questions. All you have to do is go online and download State of Digital, and you're entered to win.
Absolutely. If you want to talk to Freddie and I more, you probably should go download it.
Yeah. So we'll be here. Jill and I work in content and SEO, but we have so many talented people at Oneupweb. We're happy to help you with whatever marketing or business related questions that you have. Speaking of business, I think one of the most underutilized marketing channels would be Google My Business. Would you agree with that, Jill?
Absolutely.
So I tell business owners, who may just be starting up, like I had a sister-in-law who started a painting company. I said, before you even invest in a website or before you even get on Facebook, you need a Google My Business page. You will start showing up in local search immediately. And the best part of all is it's free. The local pack, the little box of local results, usually accompanied by a map at the top of search results, is taking up more space than ever before. That means that more people will go to your Google My Business page before they would ever go to your website to find updates.
Right.
So, Jill, what can we do during the pandemic right now to make that even more useful?
Well, first of all, if your hours of operation, different business practices, whether or not people are allowed to come in or out of your store have changed at all, please update your Google My Business account. A lot of us, I know I rely on looking at Google My Business to figure out if my favorite places to go are open right now. Additionally, Google My Business posts are super underutilized, just like Freddie was saying. It's like a social media feed, but it's in the SERP. So it's way better, right? Because you can basically say, hey, we're open. We have this special, come in. And it's indexed, right? It's right there, as opposed to, me having to navigate to Facebook or something. And truthfully, not everybody has a social media account, but almost everyone is online.
Yeah, and I will say, speaking of Google My Business posts, again, it's just like a social media post, but it'll show up in search results if somebody's searching for your business. Great way to update customers on specials, hours of operations, anything. But we have run a couple of experiments for some clients of ours, and we are seeing a positive correlation between Google My Business posts, so actively posting to your Google My Business page, and the amount of traffic that actually comes to your website through Google My Business. I don't think Google would outright say that it gives you a positive bump in search appearance, but what we have found through testing is that businesses that use the Google My Business posts typically receive more traffic through Google My Business. So I highly recommend it. I want to say it's a new feature, but it's still relatively new, and Google usually likes it when you take advantage of its new features.
So speaking of posts, social media is still really important. I didn't mean to, downplay the importance of your Facebook or your Instagram account, but what I'm suggesting is that you should do all of it or everything that makes sense for your business. I know in our area, in our neck of the woods, as I like to say, Twitter is not as popular. If we were in a major metropolitan area, I would absolutely advocate for the use of Twitter. But up here, Facebook and Instagram are still very popular, and they're still very popular with people who are on vacation. So maintaining those accounts and even experimenting with some boosted or paid advertising on those accounts is a great idea right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And not everything on social media has to be self-promotional. Right now, I mean, we're living through a really crazy time, and there's an almost overwhelming sense of community. One thing that I saw a local business do that I thought was super cool, Rose and Fern Cafe, they put an Instagram post out there that promoted Mexican restaurants in the area. So support these local businesses on Cinco de Mayo, which seems counterintuitive to selling more food at your restaurant. But I think it was very genuine, and it was very heartfelt and resonated great with their Instagram audience.
Yeah, and I think that's something I hope we'll be seeing more of in the future. I think especially in northern Michigan or in smaller communities like where we live, a rising tide really does lift all ships, right? So like when we all work together and we all promote all that Traverse City, all that Petoskey, all that northern Michigan has to offer, we see that benefit all of our businesses.
Absolutely. Yeah, and this pandemic certainly hit all businesses hard, or most businesses hard, but especially those who rely on June, July, and August. That means that June, July, and August are really going to have to make their business is going to have to recoup as many sales as they can in these next couple of months. So what that means from a digital perspective, we already talked about Google My Business. Get that updated, get that accurate, and continue to use it. It's not a set it and forget it. So you don't just update your hours. Get in there, make posts, respond to reviews, very important, and ask users to leave reviews. We see that as a very big ranking factor. The more positive reviews you have, the more you're going to show up in the local pack. So that's Google My Business. We already talked about social media a little bit and how to use that to engage with your audience and to give them information about hours of operation. And we touched a little bit on the website. Now the website I feel is very important because all of these are interlinked, right? Your social media profile is linked to your website, your Google My Business page links to your website. So ultimately, if users want more information, they're going to go to your website, and you better provide a positive experience. So Jill, what are some ways that users can provide a better experience online?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Freddie. Really, some of the same best practices that we talked about as far as Google My Business and social media apply to your website. There are a lot of times where we see that there is not a one-to-one match between the hours on a Google My Business or on a Facebook page and the hours on a website. And it can be really confusing if you don't know if a business is open or not. Which platform do I choose to pay attention to, the website or Facebook, the website or Google My Business? Making sure all of that information matches across the board is really important. And it's a good signal to Google too, right? They want to see that you're taking the steps to make sure that your business is accurately advertised across all platforms. One other thing that I think is really important right now is to lput up some kind of information about what you're doing in response to the pandemic on your website. A lot of businesses are putting a little bar across the top that says, hey, we're taking COVID-19 precautions seriously. Click here for a list of everything we're doing at our businesses to keep our consumers and our employees safe. I think that's great. I think it's something that's really attention grabbing. Even if they don't click through to the actual page that talks about everything you're doing, the acknowledgement that you're doing something is important. It's a signal to consumers that you're taking things seriously and you're concerned about their well-being. I think that's very important at this day and age. Additionally, I think just making sure that your website is easy to navigate is really important. So if you're a restaurant and you don't have a link to your menu on your website, it's going to be really hard for somebody to order from you, right? And that seems like a really simple thing, but if it's not easy to find and intuitive, and when I say this, take yourself out of website builder mode and put yourself in consumer mode. So I did not build this website. Can I find the menu? Maybe ask a friend to see if they are able to navigate it seamlessly, so that you have that verification that what you're doing is actually working. And the last thing I'm going to say here, have some kind of way for people to contact you on your website. Make sure that your phone number, an email address, if it's an info@X business or whatever email address you're using, and also consider having just a contact form. Again, providing users a way to connect with you online is really important. And then making sure that they're able to take that next step and actually get in contact with a real person, again, is a really valuable thing this day and age.
Yeah, and I will add that I personally love a chat function. If I could chat on the website with somebody else, that's wonderful. And I kid you not, I was just using the chat function with one of our technology vendors, and it was so easy. They answered my question in a matter of minutes, and I'd moved on with my day. I didn't have to sit there and wait for a couple minutes or anything like that. It was just immediate. It was awesome. And if you aren't able to man a chat all day, there are services that can do that for you.
Yeah, there are certainly ways to employ that technology for almost any kind of business.
Yeah, so I think chat is awesome. Online ordering, if you can add that to your website, that is fantastic. In fact, I have a stat here that says 22% of people say they significantly increased online ordering in April 2020. And that makes so much sense to me. I know that's true for me. I did a lot more ordering online than I ever have before in my life. But at bare minimum, you just need some messaging on the website that says what you're doing right now to respond to the current crisis, and your hours of operation, and just information on what you are offering right now, because you could be operating in a limited capacity.
Hey, Freddie, one note on that online ordering point. I think right now is a really good time for small businesses to take advantage of online ordering, because there are services out there that want to take those online orders, right? And that's not bad, but it cuts into those small businesses' profit margins if they're not actually the ones facilitating those orders. I'm thinking of services like food delivery services, right? If I can, and as a consumer, and I think this is true of a lot of consumers, if I'm able to support my local community with 100% of my dollars instead of 70% of my dollars, I'm going to choose that 100% every time. But it has to make sense for me. It has to be something that I can do easily, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a really important thing to talk about. It's the same with online retail shopping. If I can buy something locally online and pick it up or even have it shipped somewhere, and I know that 100% of those dollars that I'm spending are going to go towards my community, I'm going to do that. But again, it has to make sense for me. It has to be something that's intuitive, and it has to be something I can do easily.
Yeah, good point, Jill. That's a very good point. All right, well, the last thing I want to mention, when the coronavirus hit and companies were reacting to what is the new normal, a lot of them tightened up their pocketbooks, and a lot of marketing budgets were slashed. As marketers, that hurts us. It makes me sad, because we believe that marketing would be more important than ever to stay top of mind for your consumers once you are able to reopen. And what we're seeing now is the businesses that did continue to market and kept engaging with their customers on social media, kept their Google My Business updated, kept their website fresh, they have a leg up on those who did not. And I think that really just goes to show the importance of marketing, even when business operations aren't what they were.
Staying the course is sometimes the best course of action.
Absolutely. And we have plenty of other great marketing advice in State of Digital Marketing Vacationland during a pandemic. So go on our website and download this and read it. And when you do download this, you're going to be automatically submitted to win free consultation from Oneupweb. And this isn't just for businesses in Traverse City where we live and operate. Traverse City is awesome. Please come and visit if you are not from here or haven't been, or if you have been, come back. This is for all local businesses, right? Traverse City is a very special place, but there are many places just like it, and all small businesses have the same pains and can share the same successes. So go to oneupweb.com/stateofdigital to download the report today. And if you have any questions, leave a comment on this video and subscribe to our channel. We're putting out a lot of video content, more than we ever have before, because we're taking our own advice. We know that we need to keep marketing. We need to stay in front of the consumer and just be as helpful as possible. So leave us a comment. We'll respond. Subscribe to our channel. Hit like. We appreciate it. Or what do they say?
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram too.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. That's right. All right, Jill, do you have anything else to add before we kill this thing?
No, I think that was a really great overview, and I'm excited to see who downloads our new guide and see who we can help in the process.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in or watching this video. We hope to see you soon.
Bye-bye.